lost my train. So from an entrepreneurial standpoint, being able to be adapted to the marketplace, being able to be flexible to that has led for great opportunities. The steel business for me, just speaking specifically a little bit about steel, my opportunity was that I was solving a problem in the aerospace, aero engine marketplace that led me to being bought by a steel company and going on from there. If you're interested in being an entrepreneur in the steel industry, it is a high infrastructure business, and nobody in this room is going to start out tomorrow and start a company to make steel. You got billions and billions of dollars in it, and we've got a problem now with so much capacity in the world of steel that it's driving down prices. And if you read the papers all the time, you're talking about China dumping and all this stuff back and forth, and that's because there's too much capacity for the volume that's being purchased in the marketplace. So we really we don't need any more guys going out and making steel companies. But there's guys like me that are middlemen in the marketplace, and I buy steel in bulk, and I supply it to aircraft engine manufacturers, to guys making power gen components, medical component manufacturers, etc. And I created a niche in the marketplace where there are stringent quality approvals. So there's a barrier to entry, because for me to sell in my marketplace, you've got to be either aircraft engine approved. That means that metal I'm supplying is going to fly on an airplane, and that if there's a failure, that plane's going to go down. So for me to sell that material, I've got to have a quality control process that I can guarantee that material is going to be safe when it gets on an airplane. Same way with medical, it's going to go in your body, right? Those type of things. It just so happens in aircraft engine, those same high temperatures are used in power generations, because the big power gen gas turbines you see are really derivatives of aircraft engines. They're just land-based and a little heavier. So my same products will go into those marketplaces, and I follow that marketplace as we go forward. Same thing in the oil and gas market. When you go down deep into the earth, it's a very corrosive environment. Well, it just so happens that aircraft engine materials that are resistant to heat are very resistant to corrosion too. So those same elements. So that allows me to, in the steel industry, to go buy in bulk and sell to those industries that are making component parts for that. So what I do, I buy it in bulk. I slice it, I dice it, I cut it, and I deliver it to the manufacturers. And today, the manufacturing industry, the manufacturing world, it's about cash management. It's about just-in-time delivery. And so they want to get the material into their shop and out their door as fast as possible. You guys are familiar with the Dell computer model, right? How Dell had all their suppliers around. Well, everybody's kind of followed that model today. So now I've created a business that does that in the steel industry around my niche. So I deliver it, I buy it in bulk, I slice and dice it, put it in a form that goes on that machine, and allows the customer to get it back out the door. Now today, the market's changing. In my supply base, there's a term they call vertical integration. And that's where, I put that up there where all those suppliers that I buy from. What's happening is, it used to be in the steel industry, you'd have a melter, then you'd have a forger, you'd have a caster, then you'd have maybe a distribution guy, and a machine company, and a fabricating company, then an OEM who's buying the parts and consolidating. It's very clean who had to do what. Well, today, it's all about a race for leverage. Everybody's trying to create leverage in the marketplace. So the big mills are looking for avenues to grow and to create more leverage. So they're buying the forgers and the casters and the machining companies and trying to create their own supply chain to put leverage against the OEMs. And out of that, there's tremendous consolidation. So there's a race to consolidate and own own the material inputs to create leverage with the OEMs. And on the other side, because the aerospace market is hot, and there's not a lot of good manufacturing, there's not a good places to put money, and our industry is a hot market, all this investor capital that was in other markets is flying into ours. So we've got companies with 25 million in sales selling for $180 million. It's just stupidity, right? But as they buy these companies, now they got to pay for them. So how are they going to pay for them? They're going to try to consolidate the spend and create leverage in the marketplace. There's a race for leverage, both on my customer side with outside money coming in and buying stuff, and on the vertical supply chain, creating opportunities. For me as an entrepreneur and as a brand, I got to create my own leverage. And that's kind of why we're consolidating our businesses. But out of that, what's going to happen is everybody's going to get bigger. They're going to consolidate, and these little businesses, the little things are going to fall out. And that's where entrepreneurs come in. And they'll come in and operate a little small business, because once you get so big, you can't do the little stuff. It just, you outgrow yourself, and it spins out, and there's going to be tremendous opportunity. Right now, there's tremendous. If you want to come in and manufacture components in this country, right now, you've got the greatest opportunity in the world. Because manufacturing is going to come back to the States. And there's been so much consolidation in the automobile industry, in the aerospace industry, etc. And as they've consolidated, the ability for mom and pops and guys to spin out and do different things is just not there. And these opportunities now to create a small manufacturing company and go are there. And you see all the time the guys from Poland, the Czech Republic, from China coming over here and starting it up, because there's no fear factor, right? And there's great opportunities for it. In my industry, it's the same way. When I started my company in 1993, I probably competed with 150 different folks. Now, the internet wasn't there, right? So people didn't know where to go until you plug it in, you can spit it out. Today, I've got 2, maybe 3 competitors in the whole world. But as we consolidate and we've grown into that, there's now opportunities to spin out. There's a little girl over here that left one of our companies 10 years ago, and you never know it. You drive by her, you think, what are they doing? Well, they're doing $10 million. She's making $4 million a year. She's filmed a little niche in our industry, right? There's a guy up in Loveland, Ohio, who makes thermal spray brazen powders, $18 million in sales. He takes home $6 million a year. He's got a little niche. He's a little guy, right? But he's filling a niche with the quality approvals and thermal spray powders, not being a big guy, but being a small niche in that marketplace. You know, the opportunities are absolutely out there, but you know what? My advice for you all, and that's kind of where you're going to go. Everybody wants to chase the sexy app business or the IT business. I'm telling you right now, somebody gave me a stat the other day. We're down to 8% of our GDP's manufacturing, or some stupid low number.
It's really low right now.
Right, and that's going to come back. And those that want to play in the manufacturing, the steel, and the base businesses, there's going to be tremendous opportunities. I made a great hire the other day. Kid came to me. He's not kidding anymore. He's 28 years old. He had been working for some venture capitals and said, hey, I want to buy my own business. And said, hey, can you help me, introduce me, find some different things? And I said, hey, best thing for you to do is come work for me, because I am every manufacturing shop in the world. You're going to see small shops, medium shops, etc. You're going to get great exposure. Plus, you're going to build contacts and relationships to go forward, right? You know, so I encourage all you guys to spend 2 or 3 years in the field getting to know how a big company, I mean, if that's what you want to do, a big company thinks, right? Now, there's the guys like Facebook and all that. I can't argue with that. But there comes, out of that, comes relationships and knowledge and understanding of how that works, right? 2, I really try not to piss anybody off ever, in a sense, because you never know when you're going to need them. You go to Keeneland, you meet me out at a ball game, you come up and shake a hand. You're going to need help. You're going to need financial help. And there's a ton of money out here, right? You got a good idea, but people want to invest in people, right? And you got to build relationships, and you got to carry yourself in a certain way that people's going to trust and believing in. And attitude is 110% of that, right? Build your network, understand your network. And when you got your friends or your parents that know folks or different things, show interest in them, show interest in their business, show interest in what they're doing, because that's probably the guy that's going to come and loan you $50,000 or $500,000 in my case to get started, right? But building those networks is absolutely critical. Selling yourself, everything you do every day of your life, you're selling yourself, all right? And you never know when it's going to pay yourself off. You know, I can tell you, I am absolutely not the smartest guy you know. I'm not the most academic. I'm not very good at math, but I had a great attitude. I wasn't afraid of failure. All right, and I worked my butt off. You know, but had a blast doing it. You know, we started a company. It was like a fraternity. We traveled the world. We hung out. We've been in different places. We've had an absolute blast. It is the single greatest thing you can do is out there. And to be honest with you, the hunt. When you're in your hunt, and you don't think you do it. You got that pit in your stomach. You've been there. That's when you're having the most fun. You don't know it. You don't think you are. But that's when you are. When you get to the top, you sell the company. To be honest with you, I sold my company. It was the worst year of my life. I felt I lost my baby. Everybody's like, man, you got to be so happy, you know. Look what you did. You don't have to work, you know. It was awful. I loved the hunt. You got to embrace the hunt. You got to enjoy the ride, and it's got to be a passion, right? And if you, and in my mind, if you're doing it to make money in year one or year two, you're going to make decisions that are going to limit your growth. You got to build something of value, and the good things will come. I promise you that as we go forward. We've had fun. So anyway, that's my story. You guys got any questions or? Sure.
So when you entered like the international markets, was that like through foreign direct investment, or like, what was your strategy going in?
Yeah, mine was very unique. The fact that I was the international procurement person for GE. So what I did and how I entered that marketplace is I went to GE, Pratt & Whitney, Honeywell, to their international sourcing groups. I built relationships with those guys and said, hey, when you're going over to place work, take me with you, and I'll be right there. You can negotiate your finished parts. I'll supply the material. That'll make your life easier, and they'll know how to go, right? They'll know how to get things done. Two, on the flip side of that, as there's other companies out there like Caterpillar and others that's trying to develop strategies, I went over and said, hey, I'm the GE guy, right? I know where they went. I'll take you to where they went. In return, you buy my raw materials. So I went at it a little different. They even paid me to do that, which was great. You know, it sounded like Trump there, didn't I? You know, they even paid me to do it. So I was tackled with the multinational company. And still to this day, building relationships and knowing where that work has gone still helps me today. Also, a big part of my time is spending that time and energy with those international folks within OEMs and riding their coattails, right? It'd be very, very difficult, and some people do it, but it's a hard path to going that way. If you look for those shortcuts, those ways to cheat the system and build that on to get over there. There's plenty of people that you know and I know that has relationships to get things manufactured in China. I got a friend who's getting garage door openers and selling them back to Clopay, right? He's managing the outsourcing of that. He's doing that through his relationships that he developed through our business, right? So, you know, just following that path is very well. For me too, everything I've done globally has been English, you know, and English is the business language. It is the language in aerospace for sure, in metals for sure. So it was, you know, it was a pretty simple path. I tell people all the time, it's not complicated. Everybody working in China and working in Korea are trying to make a living, go home and feed their family and live a good quality life, and just like we are. And I'd jump on an airplane and go to China for 3 weeks. And I didn't have a hotel reservation. I just embraced the adventure of it. And you just got to go. My wife's right now is, she's got a great little thing. She's starting a business to, you got all these working moms that, have all these careers. They take time off to have kids, but there's this enormous talent pool. And she connected this talent pool with businesses like mine, because they got 20, 30 hours in one. They just want to feel valued, right? Mm-hmm. She's creating a pool, and I keep telling her, don't let perfect get away. Good. Get started. Let the market take you where you want to go. That's the kind of thing. If if you want to go international, find somebody, connect with them, just take the first step, and you'd be amazed. And that's any entrepreneur is that first step. You need to know what you're going to do the day you open your doors, right? But go do it. It's going to lead you to the right place as you go forward. What other questions you got?
In your opinion, why do you believe the manufacturers, which we've sent so heavily to China, may come back into this country? Like, what signs have you seen that shift may eventually happen? Because you go to manufacture products now and you build components. You hear everyone say, just you need to get it to China. You need to get to China to reduce your cost. Why do you think the shift back?
Well, multiple reasons. One, if you really hear if you're paying attention to the election stuff, that's all we talk about is stuff coming back, right? About a year ago, the Import-Export Bank, they did away with the funding on that, and that was driving a lot of that investment overseas. They did reinstate it, but that brought a lot of manufacturing back to the States. But frankly, our country is not going to be able to keep this cost of living that we have without bringing our jobs back. In China, in Korea, and those places too, with the internet, things are happening at multiple paces. There's more middle-class people in China today than there are in all the U.S. I think there's 400 million people middle class in China. They are getting more and more expensive to manufacture components and parts, right? And as we put pressure on our big companies, I do think we're going to see legislation. Sorry about that. We're going to see legislation that's going to drive more investment back and bring companies back home as we go forward. The fact that they're more expensive as we go along, that I think is going to all bring it back. But we the country can't afford the living standards we can without exporting. And I don't know if we agree or disagree, but if I was in charge, I'd be thinking about you hear about being competitive and winning, is that every community's got to export. And right now, we're importing far more than we're exporting. If we're going to get back and you guys are going to have a quality of life that we've grown up with, we've got to start manufacturing, exporting again, and sending stuff back out of the country. And there's so much momentum, there's so much talk. We've got more and more, I see more and more coming back all the time, which bodes well. Unfortunately for me, I made my living as material, and really I became wealthy because material moved over and I took advantage of it. But at the same time, I can see the tide turning and coming back as well.